So Taylor Swift fans, you know, they are super dedicated. They call themselves the Swifties. Everybody else refers to them as the Swifties. But some of them might be turning on Taylor Swift, and that's because they say she's exploiting them for a money grab. Remember when...
Was it the concert?
No, because you know how Taylor Swift re-recorded a lot of her albums because of the Scooter Braun thing?
She did that because he had the rights to it, and that she didn't want him to have the rights. And if she recorded it, she would have the rights to these other versions, which is a whole nother thing of how she can do that because it's the same song. But go ahead.
But yeah, so basically it's all coming off of that decision, which she called her worst nightmare at the time. That every song she had written and every song she had recorded and all of the CDs and vinyl and all the things that she had released and all of the shows, now the music was being owned by somebody else. So Taylor re-recorded it all and then started selling it. And of course her fans bought it like crazy. But now she is re-releasing these albums with like 1 or 2 songs from the vault of music that never made it to her CDs.
Yes.
And so then she'll release that one, and then she'll release another one. So you keep buying the same album over and over and over for like 1 or 2 different songs.
Well, here's a
that
tip.
you'll get.
Don't buy the whole album.
I don't know how you not do that. I don't know.
You can just buy the song or download the song.
They could. Yeah. I mean, I guess they could. I don't know if I'm assuming that you're able to do that.
Yeah, but usually on these, especially on streaming and stuff. But it is confusing because ultimately, for instance, if you have a song and you own it, I can't just go out and record the same song, even though it's a slightly different version, if it's the same thing without, and then make money on it without giving you royalties or permission or whatever the deal is. So she has some kind of weird deal where she can do that because she's recording the same song. You know what I'm saying? And she's hoping that, so if a movie wants it or advertising wants it, they're hoping that they would pay her for that song almost. But Scooter Braun, her former manager, or was it a manager, or he just bought it? I don't know.
I think he just bought it.
He owns the rights to it. So I'm not sure how she is not getting. That might be a Lisa Lanier question someday, because I'm telling you, if you go out, if you're a band and you go out and either sample something, or it's the same thing, you have to either get permission or you have to pay royalty rights, just like P. Diddy is still paying millions and millions of dollars just for using a similar version of the Police song in Every Breath You Take, and the other, his was called I'll Be Missing You. So I'm not sure how that's all working.
Some of my understanding, and this Lisa would probably be more, but the way I understood it was Scooter Braun, there's multiple licenses that you can buy for music, right? You can own the writer's portion, you can own the performance portion, or you can own the commercial portion. So if you bought the rights to a certain song commercially, then you could decide if it were going to be used in commercials or political or whatever to endorse products.
Correct.
And then if it is, then if you own the commercial rights to it, then you capitalize that way.
That's a huge way. That's how people make a lot. That's how they're making a lot of money.
And I think those are the rights that Scooter Braun purchased.
Right,
or the commercial rights, not necessarily the whole thing, but he purchased the commercial rights, so then he would decide if a Taylor Swift song were in a Snickers commercial to promote Snickers.
And he would get paid for that.
And he would be the one getting paid for that because it would be his choice, and Taylor would not have a say in that portion.
And then her name goes on to, like, then it looks almost as if, in a way, which is why certain musicians don't like it when politicians use their music, because then it's like, oh, well, I hear Taylor Swift, she must love Snickers, or Taylor Swift must endorse Cadillac, or whatever.
It looks like now an endorsement from that artist.
Yeah, but that happens all the time. I mean, Justin Bieber sold his catalog. Fleetwood Mac, I think, sold the catalog. Multiple artists have sold their catalogs on that particular thing. And the political thing is very tricky because they're just playing it, so they just have to pay an ASCAP or BMI fee for that, because they're not necessarily endorsing. They're just playing the music.
But we hear all the time how
they can say cease and desist, but it's very difficult to really get them to stop because they're, as long as they're paying that royalty fee, it's not a big. But Matt, I get what you're saying. The big question though is, how does she have the legal right and not get sued for now recreating her own song a different way and then doing what she wants with it? That's where I don't understand how in that case, because it would be like anybody now copying. And like a lot of people will say that is so wrong, that is so wrong. But a lot of these artists are getting paid, like Justin Bieber get paid hundreds and hundreds of $100 million to sell his music to another person. So now they are in a better position and have a better company and a better understanding of how to make money and capitalize off of using in spots and commercials and royalties, and they took the risk of paying for the rights.
But I think maybe what one of the differences is that was Justin Bieber's decision. It was Fleetwood Mac's decision. This was a decision made for Taylor Swift's career by her manager.
Totally get that. And I don't know how that all came to play and the rights, and she obviously didn't have enough rights on the decision making. And I get where she's coming from, but he did buy it.
And I do think that in a normal situation when that happens, I do think at a certain point you might have some an entity like a record label or something that wanted to sell a portion of that. I do think in most cases, because I remember Taylor's biggest gripe was that she never had the opportunity to purchase it herself. It was never presented to her as an option. Most of the time, I do think they at least go to the artist and say, hey, we're looking to do this. Do you want first crack at it? And normally they say yes. That's when it becomes the artist's choice. Taylor's biggest gripe was, I never had the chance to do this, and Scooter just went with it. And I wonder if, because Taylor's re-recording, so Taylor owns these new songs, Scooter still probably owns the old ones.
Yes, he owns
so if you wanted
ones.
to put an old one in the commercial, Scooter would still get that money.
Right. But I'm saying, like, how is it fair, really, and how legal is it that if let's say Snickers wanted the spot and they use Taylor Swift's new version of the song, and it's just a copy of what Scooter Braun owns? That's the part I don't get.
Well, I think aren't you saying that like there's different tiers of ownership? So if he only owns a commercial right to the song, he doesn't own the rights to the lyrics and the melodies of the song. He just owns the commercial right to it.
Right.
So who is he to sue for a song that sounds similar if he doesn't have the rights to the lyrics and the melody?
If that song is used in a Snickers commercial, it's the same song. He does own the rights to sell that song in a commercial.
Because an example that is legit is because Taylor Swift partners with Capital One, I think is the credit card. And so when she's in those commercials, they're using her music. Scooter should be getting a cut of that, and I don't know that he is.
Are they're using old music of hers, or they're using new music of hers?
Anti-Hero's in it, so it's newer.
I
So it's newer.
Okay, if that's newer, then
it's newer. So
whatever
it would be hers.
But Lisa, when we talked to Lisa, she has an association with an entertainment lawyer that might know about this.
Well, and another thing that Taylor Swift fans are upset about is that it's almost as if Taylor's, and it's not just her. I mean, I think we just assume that it's Taylor making these decisions, but there's people behind them.
Oh, a whole team.
It's creating a sense of urgency. For example, she just released a vinyl. It's called Crystal Skies, the Blue Edition. And then there was like a sense of urgency that for 48 hours only, the yellow edition was going to be available, where the one is blue and then the other one is the yellow. And so it's like, gotta get it, gotta have it.
The fans are buying like vinyl and the old school stuff. I see. Now that probably is legal. That's probably
that you can do. And it's just like if for example, we have a let's say we're as famous as Taylor Swift, and we have our own a shirt, right? And so we say, you guys can buy it for $20, and then everybody buys. Hopefully, everybody would buy our shirts for $20. And then the next day we would say, and for 48 hours only, you can buy this special edition Jared and Katie in the Morning shirt. And it's just a little bit different. Well, you just spent $20
you know what I call
to
that,
get the
Katie,
shirt.
which you don't like to hear? Capitalized.
Listen, I would buy both of the shirts. I'm just saying.
And here you are spending $100 on a Harry Styles sock or sweatshirt. Whatever you got.
And if he had a different color, I would have bought those socks too. I'm not mad about it, but Taylor Swift fans are pretty angry about it.
You loved Taylor Swift's Midnight album. Then you bought her Midnight 3 a.m. version. Now you can get her Midnight 6:45 a.m. version, where she wakes up and decides to put another song on it. And don't miss out on the custom vinyl of her Speak Now album. First, she offered the Crystal Skies Blue Edition, then surprised us with the Sunrise Boulevard Yellow Edition. Well, now, get ready for the Dollar Bill Green Edition.
I love language with you, you know? I plot, I scheme, I plan.
No wonder she's doing commercials for Capital One. Who can afford all this stuff without a credit card? What's in your wallet? That's Taylor Swift.
Excellent.
I'm so broke. I got nothing.